Doctor Who Season 1's 6th episode will be taking us back to the Regency era for a Bridgerton-inspired story. The synopsis tells us that the Doctor and Ruby land in 1813, where guests at the Duchess's party are being murdered, and a mysterious bounty hunter called Rogue is about to change the Doctor's life forever. With that in mind, what can we expect from Rogue? Well, first of all, we can expect to see lots more of the Doctor than we have in recent weeks, coming off the back of two Doctor Light stories, 73 Yards and Dot and Bubble. I appreciated what those stories were both doing, having the Doctor on the fridges kind of was part of the premise, part of the format, and that allowed for some interesting, unique storytelling. But it nevertheless will be great to see Ncuti Gatwa with the 15th Doctor back, front and centre once again, because it does feel like it's been a while. He's going to have, it's another new costume, a red velvet, very dapper kind of Regency-inspired thing. And if that synopsis is anything to go by, this story will be quite a game-changing one for the Doctor. It's been suggested that perhaps there'll be a romance between him and Rogue, kind of in the style of Madame de Pompadour in The Girl in the Fireplace, perhaps. Whatever the case, I certainly think this new character, Rogue, is going to be a bit of a match for the Doctor, and it's going to be very interesting to see the Doctor kind of have to deal with someone like that. We'll also be seeing more of Millie Gibson as Ruby Sunday this week, our new companion who's now appeared in a good number of episodes, but last week, like the Doctor, she was just on a screen apart from that very, very last scene. Like the Doctor, Ruby is once again going to dress for the occasion and have her own era-appropriate outfit. We've seen plenty of pictures of that already in trailer shots, this kind of yellow dress, very much like something a Disney princess might wear. And it certainly seems that, to begin with at least, the Doctor and Ruby are just going to be there, dancing and having fun in the Regency era and getting involved in all the kind of the ballroom stuff and all the choreography. And Ruby's going to be there talking about how it's so Bridgerton every 5 minutes. With this being the final episode before the big two-part finale, I do wonder whether there are going to be any big developments in Ruby's story, the mystery of her birth or the snow thing, anything like that. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's now turn our attention to the episode's biggest guest star, Jonathan Groff, who'll be playing the titular bounty hunter, Rogue. So Groff's casting was announced over a year ago now. It's one of those things like with Jinx Monsoon being in The Devil's Cord that we learnt very, very early on. And we actually know very, very little about his character, beyond the fact that he's a bounty hunter, he's not of this earth, he's not of the Regency era. Like the Doctor and Ruby, he appears to just be visiting, but he also seems to have some ulterior motive, some bounty that he's tracking down or something like that. There has been a suggestion that this character could perhaps be some sort of love interest for the Doctor, which would be very, very interesting indeed. I think in any case, there is definitely more to Rogue than meets the eye. He seems to be a very enigmatic character, and yeah, I look forward to meeting him. The episode's other big guest star is Indira Varma as the Duchess of Pemberton. Indira Varma will be familiar to some Doctor Who fans already for her role as Susie Costello in the first season of Torchwood, and since then she's gone on to become an even bigger name, appearing in the likes of Game of Thrones. So it's very exciting to see her finally making the leap across to Doctor Who, to the main show, playing another very enigmatic character, a very mysterious character, the Duchess. And we already know from trailer shots and bits like that she will turn out to be one of these bird-like aliens appearing in the story. She kind of seems to be their leader. And we might speculate that she and her people are the bounty that Rogue is trying to find. That would be a very obvious route to go down, but something tells me it's perhaps not going to be quite so simple. Let's talk a bit about these bird aliens, who I believe are called the Chuldur or the Chuldur. They are basically humanoid bird people. I think there are about 3 or 4 of them in the episode at least, including their leader, the Duchess. And the prosthetics work on these guys just looks absolutely incredible. It looks so, so good, and there's such variation as well. It's not just the same mask or the same design that's been used for all these characters, all these actors. They've got their own bespoke masks in different colours and different styles, different types of bird, I'm guessing. And obviously we've had monsters like this in the past, or aliens like this in the past, where you have the prosthetic and it's very carefully crafted to allow the actors to kind of express themselves and to allow it to come through. But I can't really think of many recent examples from recent episodes or recent years. You've had lots of great experimental stuff like giant slugs augmented by CG, or lots of kind of stuff that utilises puppets and puppeteering. So it's going to be very, very nice to have an alien of this style again. Like I say, it allows the actors to properly kind of bring something to the table in terms of performance, and they just look absolutely stunning. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing these guys in action. In terms of other cast and other characters this week, We have Paul Foreman playing Lord Barton, and Camilla Iko playing Emily Beckett, a name which is very reminiscent of Elizabeth Bennet, the main protagonist of Pride and Prejudice. We have Michelle Greenidge once again playing Ruby's mum, Carla Sunday, rather surprisingly for a Regency set episode. As I was saying earlier, perhaps at the end of the story there's going to be some sort of lead in to the finale, set back in the present day, with Carla kind of coming on board the TARDIS or something. Otherwise, we have Maxim Ace playing Lord Galpin, Deborah Baker playing Housekeeper, Ashley Campbell playing Butler, Nancy Brabin Platt playing Miss Talbot, and David Charles playing Mr. Price. I'm assuming at least some of those characters are the bird people in disguise. So this story is set in the Regency era, that brief period before the Victorian era got underway, well known for things like Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen and these big sort of ballrooms and dancers and gowns. And it's an era that's barely featured on TV Doctor Who at all. I think there are kind of two examples that spring to mind. The first being Thin Ice, which was set in 1814. The second being The Haunting of Villa Diodati, which was set in 1816. But the show has never really gone to town with Regency England, costumes and ballrooms and dancing until now. And I think there's lots to look forward to in that regard. I think with the explosion of Bridgerton in the past few years, that's really kind of directly inspired this story. It is almost, Doctor Who does Bridgerton. I think it will have really made the production team up their game in terms of making this as authentic as possible with the costumes and the sets. They've got the official Bridgerton choreographer Jack Murphy in as well to coordinate all the dancing. And Doctor Who and the BBC more broadly has always done really, really good costume drama, but I think this is going to be something particularly special and particularly sumptuous. Now, this isn't just the first Doctor Who story set in the Regency era since The Haunting of Villa Diodati. It's also the first guest-written episode since that point, the first guest-written episode in 4 years, which is kind of crazy. Since then, everything has either been written or co-written by Chris Chibnall, or Russell T Davies, or Stephen Moffat. Rogue will instead be written by not one, but 2 new writers, and 2 new female writers as well, which is always great to see. And they're both much more than just writers. So first of all, we have Kate Herron, who is a director and writer and producer. She's directed the likes of Loki and Sex Education. And her writing partner, Bryony Redman, is a writer and performer with a background in comedy. Now, I have loved lots of episodes in recent years written by Chibnall and Russell and Moffat, but oh my goodness, it's going to be so refreshing to have some new voices in there. It is long overdue. I still do kind of think it's a shame that season 1 is only going to have one story, this one written by writers who are new to the show. But I guess in a way that makes this story all the more exciting. Of course, Susan Twist will also be appearing in this story, the one cast member who I have not yet mentioned. She's been a housemaid, a heckler, a hiker, an ambulance, the mother of a spoilt racist. And this time she'll be playing the role of the portrait, one of her most mysterious parts yet. Does that mean some kind of living, breathing portrait or a painting that comes to life? It's kind of giving Dorian Gray vibes. Could this be a more prominent role with some sort of lead into the finale, perhaps? Speaking of which, last but not least, this week we are going to get our first proper look at the finale, our first trailer for The Legend of Ruby Sunday. It's a story that's still very much shrouded in mystery. We've got the mystery of Susan Triad, the mystery of Ruby Sunday. We've got some returning characters here and there, but we don't really know anything about the main antagonist yet. Am I expecting the next time trailer to give everything away? Absolutely not. I'm sure they're going to hold loads back to the episode itself. But it's still going to be very, very nice and very tantalising to have our first proper glimpse of the 15th Doctor's first season finale. What are you looking forward to in Rogue? Be sure to let me know down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new for more stuff like this in the future. But otherwise, until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.